We've got a lot of tips to go over for Helltides in Diablo 4, and all of this is available after the current patch, and there's actually a little trick that we can do to help gear up your character extremely quickly, as well as some great information for farming up these Helltides for faster XP and loot to be able to get tons of those mystery chests that are going to get you all of the best gear that you can get during these Helltides, and get them a lot faster than you otherwise would be able to. So the first thing we're going to do is how to get cinders very, very quickly. And there's a couple different things that we can do for this. Obviously, you're going to want to go for high mob density, but the way that I've been doing this lately is actually by farming up events that are really close together. There's a lot of events, and I think the event spawn timers are actually a little bit faster in Helltides. So if you can find two events that are near each other and just farm those back to back, you can actually get a ton of cinders really quickly, and it's a lot easier than roaming around the map trying to find different packs and running into different people that are also, well, it's kind of nice running into other people actually, to be quite honest, because sometimes if you run into other people, you just get like a bunch of cinders for no reason really, which is really nice. Can you die please, boss? Thank you. So essentially what I've been doing is there is an actual interactive map that we can use, which is really cool. I'll go over that here in just a second. But essentially, I find two different events that are really close together. So there's an event that spawns here, and there's an event that spawns here. And I'll show you this map that you can use to find all of the close together maps, as well as where all of the mystery chests are on the map. Now what I do is I run back and forth between these two locations, and if one of the events isn't spawned, I just kill all of the different things in the area. Sometimes the events spawn really quickly, other times it takes just about another minute for them to spawn, but usually there's big packs of monsters just around where the events are anyway, so it makes it a really good farming spot too. Now for some strange reason, occasionally one of the two events won't respawn, but then the other event that you just finished will respawn instead. So you can kind of just run back and forth in between these two events, killing all the monsters in between and farming them up. And the more people that do this, the more efficient it's going to be, because you're going to have more people helping you out with these events. And that's kind of why I wanted to share it. It's incredibly efficient for getting cinders really quickly, as well as lots of other loot and the orables, so you can actually gamble for the loot that you're looking for, or really the legendary aspects that you're looking for. If you don't know how to do that, I do have a video on the channel of actually going over what you need to and how you can gamble for specific legendary aspects in the game to make your character more powerful. But this is essentially the process. You go back and forth in between these two events, and then we'll show off the map so you can actually figure out which ones you should be farming and where you need to be looking. Using this method, I've been able to quickly farm up upwards of 4 of these level 175 mysterious chests, and they really are the only chests that you want to be opening in the Helltide. You don't want to waste your time with any of the lower level chests, because you're going to get the most amount of legendaries by doing this. Now the map I'm talking about that you want to take advantage of is at helltides.com. I don't know who made this, but you're a lifesaver. It tells you how long you have left in the Helltide, how long until the next Helltide spawns, and then once it's open, it'll give you a list of events that you can do that are close by. So I would either farm up these two, I would farm up these two. I don't know if I would do these two because they're kind of far away, but you could probably do these two maybe. But I just like to farm 2. If you have a loop of 3, that's even better. But what's even better about this map is it tells you where these chests are, and you have thumbs up and thumbs down because the chests do move around, so that way people are marking which ones are actually active and which ones aren't. So you can see we've got these 2 chests that we could run to right now. So once you have close to 175 cinders, you can check this map, you can tell exactly where the chest is, run for it, and then start collecting your cinders all over again. It's pretty amazing. So just to finish an event here, and the map currently says that there's going to be a chest right up here, and lo and behold, it just popped up on our mini-map. And wham bam, thank you ma'am, we've got our tortured gift of mysteries. It's incredibly efficient to be farming up these events and then using the map not only to find the events, but to find these mystery chests. And if you do it right, you can quickly find 3, 4, or even 5 of these chests per Helltide, depending on how quick you are at doing these events. Now obviously doing this on tier 4 is going to be the best way, because you can get all of the ancestral loot for big upgrades, but there's actually a really cool trick we can do. This is by far the best way to be able to upgrade your character and farm legendaries or legendary aspects, and quite frankly, it's a really great way to get XP as well. I mean, especially if you're getting all of these events and farming them up back to back, it's just a great XP farm. but also all of those oracles and legendaries that you're going to be getting are going to really help you level up your character as well, as long as you're not messing up the events like I am, because apparently I can't talk and play at the same time today. I just woke up. But now obviously you're going to want to be doing this on World Tier 4 for the best equipment and amount of XP that you can get, but maybe you just got out of World Tier 3 and you can't farm up the Helltides on World Tier 4 super efficiently, right? Because you don't want to die. Dying is really bad in these Helltides. You're going to waste a lot of time if you die, but there's actually a trick that we can do. So what you can do is farm up all of your cinders on something like World Tier 3. You can't farm them up on anything lower than that. And we'll use this as an example over here. I don't think this is one of the good chests, but imagine this being one of the good chests, because we're running low on this Helltide here, and I want to get this video done without having to wait for the next one. So let's just clear these out real quick. And what we're going to do is imagine this being a 175 cinder chest. You're on World Tier 3. And what you can do is you can leave the game in front of this chest. Now, once you leave the game, you can change your world tier. So we're going to go from tier 4 down to tier 3 to show that the cinders do transfer. You can transfer them from tier 3 to tier 4 as well. But I was just running out of time in this Helltide. And we're going to load back into the game. Now, you're going to load back into the game in front of the chest that you logged out in front of. And you're going to have all the same cinders. Now, the trick about this is if you're going from World Tier 3 to World Tier 4, you can actually get Ascendant loot out of this. So let's grab a couple more of these just so we can show that we can transfer up. So now we're on World Tier 3 and I collected a couple more cinders. But what we're going to want to do is World Tier 4 has better loot. So I'm just going back and forth to show how this works. So if you're on World Tier 3 and you're farming up all of your cinders, you would go in front of one of the 175 mysterious chests and you would leave the game. Now, this does require you having access to Nightmare Tier 4. We're going to change the world tier back to Nightmare 4. When you log back in, you'll still have all of the cinders from World Tier 3, and you can open up these chests on World Tier 4. And the reason you want to do that is because on World Tier 4, you can get all of the ancestral loot. So it's going to be the best loot. You can upgrade your character really easily this way without actually having to worry about dying in the Helltide. And this is going to be most useful for those that are just transferring from World Tier 3 to World Tier 4, and the difficulty might be a little bit too high and you don't want to risk dying. You can save a lot of time by doing this method. Just farm up all of your cinders on World Tier 3. When you get 175, use the map to find one of the chests, log out or exit the game in front of one of the chests, go to World Tier 4, open that bad boy up, and then just rinse and repeat. Now that the Helltide is over, we can see exactly when the next Helltide is going to come, so that way we can either take a break from the game or farm up some nightmare dungeons or really whatever you want. What's great is there's also going to be a world boss version of this coming very soon as well. So definitely props to the makers of this website. Y'all are lifesavers. Now, I've still got a lot of friends who don't know how to properly use orbals, so we're going to go over that real quick because you're going to get a lot of orbals while doing this, and it's really important to use them the right way. There's a lot of options that you can get in here, and a lot of people are saying they just roll for upgrades here, but really what I would focus on is rolling for your legendary aspects that you want. Don't roll for any of these high cost ones on the weapons. What you can do is, I made a whole video on this, but essentially you want to roll for you want to ignore all the high cost stuff here. And you can actually roll for the specific legendary aspects you want by rolling on caps, tunics, gloves, boots, pants, amulets, and rings. Now, any legendary aspect that only goes on a ring, you can only get from a ring. So if you're really trying to get some of that resource generation stuff, you want to spend your orbals on gambling on these rings. This is how I've gotten all of my best legendary aspects for my rings. If you want attack ones, one of the best things you can do is spend it on gloves. You can get a few other aspects this way too, but if you're specifically going for those attack-oriented ones, get these gloves. It's a lot cheaper than getting the weapons. Boots are going to give you mobility. Tunics and caps are going to give you defense. And amulets, you can get an assortment of things. So you can really target the legendary aspects that you want. I've got a more in-depth video on this. I'll leave in a link in the description if you want, but I just wanted to cover that at the end so you don't waste your orbals because they can become extremely useful. But I really do hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.